So there are 7 continents in the world, 196 countries. Right, so we've got North America, Europe, Asia, Africa. What else? South America, North America, Antarctica, Australia. Right? So globalization in a way has managed to make it, all these countries and all these continents connected through trade of sorts. Right? So who's the biggest exporter in the world actually? The biggest exporter. The biggest creditor actually. Who's the biggest creditor? China, Japan. Yeah. Japan. Japan is a big contender actually. We're in March, eh? So actually March. Actually, every year, 31st of March, it's actually a law in Japan that all countries with outside investments or outside branches remit all the money back to Japan. But the 31st of March, every year, yeah. Every year, because it's a big criticism. Toyota, imagine with the coronavirus, they asked for the outstanding balances of money to actually be remitted back.
It's like paying tribute.
The money has to go back where it's supposed to go back to, in a way. So Toyota every year, the 31st, they will remit all their money back to the motherland, or the homeland rather. Yeah. So let's talk about Asia. I guess Asia, that's the largest continent, right? How many countries in Asia? 50 countries in Asia. Basically, 60% of all inhabitants on Earth are Asians. Yeah, so you would have China, Japan, Singapore will most likely be the biggest countries with the most people. Also one of the highly developed countries in the world. Africa, second largest continent in the world. How many countries? 50? 54 countries in Africa, right? 25% of all inhabitants on Earth are Africans or stay in Africa. What are the biggest economies? Top 5. Top 5? Well, I guess in no order. Nigeria, South Africa, Morocco. Morocco is way up there. What else do you have? Sorry? The largest economies. Yeah. Okay. For argument's sake, we're talking about legitimate, right? A lot of the countries, very rich, but economies are not that particularly high for one reason or another. Right, so in that sense, I guess DRC being probably the most wealthiest in terms of resources. Yes, if you were talking about resources, you could have DRC as the largest, right? But legitimate economy. So South Africa definitely at the top. Morocco at the top as well. Rwanda is coming up economic-wise. And I guess a lot of countries in Central Africa, you've got your Kenya, you've got your Ghana, Uganda, Rwanda, all those countries, everyone is coming up now. Yes? North America. How many countries? Because everyone can see it says 23, right? A lot of us here used to think 3 countries. Mexico, USA, and Canada. A lot of people probably just think 3, but actually you have to count the islands as well. Right? Someone said Mexico here. No, not Mexico. You said Brazil. Someone said Brazil. South America, right? I guess you're one of those guys who had issues with I won't say. South America. right? Fourth largest continent, and the largest rain forest, which is the Amazon. And till this date, there's still certain parts of Amazon that has not yet been explored to date, right? The climate there is just totally different. It's a beast on its own. Yeah, would you go there?
Hell no.
You don't go. How many of us would go?
To the Amazon.
Yeah.
Hell
How much you gonna get paid? Everyone's got a price. Yeah? Even $1 million. Anaconda, yeah, you could catch. I'm sure the diseases. It's like every single region or continent has its own set of diseases which would definitely affect outside. It's like Africa. Malaria here is one of the biggest killers, right? So somebody who probably stays in America or in South America, yeah, South America, I don't know. Have you realized that there's some places where you go to and you won't see any flies or mosquitoes? Let's be honest. Let's think about it. Some certain places, if you go, think about it nicely. It is very hard for you to see a mosquito. You know what I mean? So
in Switzerland.
Switzerland, exactly. You know, exactly. So malaria there is something that is unheard of. You know, so it's the same thing with. If you're to visit a place for the first time, you're most likely going to catch whatever local or common, let's say, I don't know, diseases that are there. So I guess maybe that's why the gentleman here would not feel safe going to the Amazon. Get paid $1 million, you don't go. You don't take a chance.
Unless my wife is spending it.
Very few guys like you. A lot of guys.
Kind of animals there, it's like walking through that thing.
I understand. Yeah, it's a different.
Poisonous frogs and
Yeah.
all kinds of spiders and stuff.
It's a different climate altogether.
Different climate.
Yeah? Antarctica. This is the 5th largest continent, which is, of course, the coldest. How many of us actually go and stay there? Why?
I love winter.
Are you a sociable person? Because you won't find anybody to socialize with.
I'm an introvert.
You're an introvert? Yeah. You'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah? How do you find the cold?
I enjoy cold weather.
Yeah.
Been in a place with snow, so yeah.
Yeah. So but this is a different place.
Different meat though, I'll eat seals and penguins.
I totally understand. Europe, I guess we're all familiar with the Eurozone. 6th largest continent with 51 countries. And if we're talking about it in a more statistical sense, it becomes the most developed continent. Yes? With economic giants such as Germany, you've got France, you've got Switzerland, you know, you've got all these other countries. You've got Russia, you've got everything. Right? All forming the Eurozone, which you can't forget Spain and Italy, I suppose. Italy in the sense of it being... sorry?
Italy hasn't been struggling.
Yeah,
Okay, compared to us.
there you see, exactly. So I guess the
But in their
comparison is quite relative.
Greece, Italy, and Spain.
Yeah, it's quite relative, you know what I mean?
Compared to us, we were like the Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. It'd be very hard for them to understand the situation, our situation. Yeah, that is true. Great Britain was once part of the EU. I guess now it's on its way out. Brexit. Yeah. What do you think would have contributed to the success of Europe? And I guess in most sense it becomes the formation of the Eurozone. Free trade amongst all countries, which means you can trade, no duty being charged. You know, there's free entry, quick entry also. You know, like unlike other countries in other regions where it will take you 5 hours to cross into another country. Right? Trade also not being particularly free here, where you're charged for actually bringing those goods in there. It's a free flow system. You know, one currency, right? Which actually then that forces is that The policies, the financial policies that are actually made have to be adhered by everybody who's part of the US. So that there is basically one front. You've got one voice, one policy dictating a lot of different governments, which helps in a sense, you know. It becomes one major economy. We can agree to that, right? There's huge manufacturers in Germany, Mercedes, BMW, all these luxurious cars, powerhouses, you see. So I guess that also then feeds into the success of then having that continent basically being the most developed as a whole as compared to all other continents. Australia. How many of us here thought that there's two countries in Australia? In New Zealand, it's just New Zealand and Australia. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. 14 countries. Yeah, there's 14, 1-4. Yeah, 14 countries, which includes New Zealand. Yeah. Least populated continent with only 0.3% of the world's inhabitants in it. Yeah. Yeah. So if we're going to do a recap, world's largest economy. Let's compare China and the USA, for example. Currently, the largest economy is the American economy. Yes? Nah, let's say yes. How many of us think China is going to overtake the United States in the future? Half the class. The other half maintains. Means maintaining that America is going to continue having the largest economy. How many would like to give a reason why they think China would overtake?
China is not only exporting goods, it's exporting people, like manpower. It's estimated that by the time we get to 2030, there will be more than probably 100 million Chinese, especially in Africa.
Okay.
So they're not only exporting goods, exporting people.
Yeah.
So manpower and all that, America's not doing that.
Okay, so what are the Chinese really good at? Manufacturing. Manufacturing. That's what they're really, really good at. Okay.
Yeah.
What are the Americans really good at? Sorry? Inventors. Exactly. So innovation. That's very intangible, right? So who leads the pack?
But Chinese also invent.
I like using this example. Who went to the moon first?
Of course, the Americans.
Exactly. It's all about who comes up with the idea. Because they own the idea, yes? So in a sense, I would still maintain that whoever, the innovator is the most powerful person. Yeah? Very true. It's so intangible that an idea is so intangible, but at the same time it's so powerful. Chinese are good. Yeah.
Could you say maybe it's because of the Jews in America?
No.
But can you say, like, these times, America is the one that, because if you find someone inventing something here in Africa, they take him the offer of a citizenship in America.
Yeah.
So,
Where are they actually inventing this? That's the question. He's gone before the invention happens. Right? So well, not particularly, but it's been sold. The idea's already been sold. You know? So it's really, really about, and like I said, it's not really that the Americans are the ones who are doing the innovation, that they're the ones coming up with the ideas, not at all. Like you said, the Chinese are exporting manpower. Americans could be importing.
They import brains.
in a way, importing.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
There's
Asians, mostly Asians, exactly. Yeah.
It's the Indians and the Chinese, probably Japanese.
That's power.
Yeah.
That's power.
So
They're importing the ideas. Exactly. So that's how it's a very close competition. Yeah?
I think what will make America continue to grow as it is going, I think it's because of their openness in terms of their governmental policies.
Yeah.
How many guys can they to move to get to the United States to see
Yeah.
this oil is coming?
Land of opportunity.
So they obviously
I think I've changed my mind.
Yeah, you've changed your mind.
It's gonna be around for a long
Yeah, it's going to be around for a very long time. So, you know, it's all about creating that environment that allows individuals to be able to express their ideas and to be able to implement them.
Because China is too strict on politics.
Yeah, you are
Yeah, yeah.
So that will probably be
Different principles.
negative,
Exactly. Right?
What what's happening? They have to create their own vision.
yeah.
So that at least they are able to tap into whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. We've got Japan. Remember I mentioned Japan?
Yeah.
I was talking about it being a major creditor.
I think China will overtake America, based on the fact that America is a bit biased towards oil, and they're trying to deviate from using oil to cleaner fuels, like for example, diesel and stuff. So by the time we use those cleaner fuels, oil will lose value and then crash.
But greener fields have been used for a very long time. As a matter of fact,
And the Americans more than the Chinese.
yeah, but as a matter of fact, actually, oil, China is actually a major importer of oil, Japan included. You see what I mean? So in a sense, I would not particularly agree as to Chinese are using more oil than
America has been going green
for a very long time.
especially with their solar farms.
Yeah, they came with the mantra, go green, you know. Japan, major creditor, right? One of the biggest manufacturing exporters in the world. The GDP is $4.7 trillion. Yeah, it's, you know, what's amazing about Japan, you know how big, Japan is actually not that big. Yeah, it's actually not a big place, you know, but yeah, it's amazing what comes out though.
What is Zim's GDP?
It's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. The numbers must have been released, I think 2 weeks ago. The second set of numbers was released 2 weeks ago. Then you've got Germany,
Yeah.
right, known for its exports of machinery, vehicles, and household equipment, and it is the fourth largest economy with a GDP of 3.5 trillion, 4.2 trillion actually, per annum. So that is, it's far, right? The United Kingdom, fifth largest economy, and economy is basically driven by service industries.
Yeah.
It's a service-based economy. Yes. France, Paris has it becoming the most visited country. France basically has to be the most visited country in the world. The biggest tourist attraction, right? Sixth largest economy with a GDP of $2.48 trillion per annum. One of its key sectors is the chemical industry, which helps to develop other manufacturing activities. Then you've got India. You're talking about Silicon Valley. Yeah, tech. Health sector as well probably has undoubtedly one of the best, largest health sectors in the world.
And they're built in that diamond city.
Yeah.
They'll be processing the raw diamonds, so that's going to be a booster.
Yeah, so it's a service-based and to some degree manufacturing-based economy. Brazil. Ninth largest economy with a GDP of 1.7. Manufacturing contributes about 28% of its GDP. And the main manufacturing industries include automobile and steel industries. They do manufacture certain cars, actually. You know, so it's actually it's a booming economy, with its, of course, you know, ups and downs. Canada, 10th largest economy with a GDP of $1.8 trillion. Economy is service-driven also. Large manufacturing sector and oil production. Mainly financial services and real estate and communications. So in a way, you realize if you take a look at countries like neighboring countries, New Zealand, Australia, the economy is basically, the New Zealand dollar is basically positively correlated to Australian dollar because of the policies. Also, they're trade partners, so basically their policies will to some degree align. Uniform, right? Same thing in what happens in Asia. Right, so any questions from this snowy world chapter? Questions? I could give you a quiz. It's actually, it's funny when people mention a quiz, people start laughing. When you mention it's time up, people now have the questions. It's time to place a trade. You get the DM, hi man, how do I actually place this trade? How do I do this? It's actually quite crazy. But I do understand itself. You have to process certain things first, to kind of get an idea of what it is that you understand or what you don't understand. Yeah.
Well, looking at, especially when we are looking at the major currencies.
Yeah.
In China, which is the second largest.
But it's not part. Yeah.
What basically
Have you realized, seen something about the 8 countries? They are basically, when it comes to transparency, they will be the most transparent countries in terms of policies, right? It's very easy for all of us to know who are the presidents and vice presidents of each and every one of those 8 countries. But if you go to some other countries, it's very hard. I don't know who the deputy president of China is, but I know who the president is, right? I know to some degree, actually a large degree, the policies that the United States government has, trade policies, which you wanna as a trader, you obviously want to trade something you have is confidence in or faith. Question?
Another thing is the fact that China purposefully undervalues their currency so as to promote exports.
Yeah, it's an unfair playing field.
Yeah. So what they do is their currency is always undervalued.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't, to value their currency, they don't use any fundamentals.
Yeah.
There's a board, there's a currency board,
Yeah.
which decides, they actually plan for 20 years.
20-year plan. Yeah.
To say, in year 3, we want to devalue our currency by so much.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. So it's all about confidence. You want to have faith. You want to have faith in a particular policy. You want to know what is being said. You want to know where it's going, because remember, you're trading into the future. So you can only trade if you've got confidence. Another country, which Russia, very large economy, but it's not also part because of the same particular reasons in terms of policies. Not very transparent when it comes to policies, which is a very big advantage for them. They're not doing it because they actually it's a very big advantage in the sense of, which is why other countries would also have a problem with another country devaluing its currencies, thereby distorting exchange rates. So yeah, that's the reason. It's all about transparency. It's all about you having faith.
Yeah, I think given if you're an investor, to ask yourself, would you be comfortable investing in China or investing in the United States? I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it plays a huge role.
Yeah, I can't put my money in China.
Yeah, it's where all the money is going. It's where all the money is going. It's where all the money is going currently. Yeah, so Other questions?